Alright, are we in here? Are we in here? Let me get some confirmation. What a game, guys. What a game. That was insane. Alright, we're gonna get started in a couple minutes here. I'm gonna let some people get in, but oh my god. Was that the least deserving win? Was that the least deserving win of all time? Alright, just give me one more minute to get set up and then we will get going. Hey, there's the hype coming in. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, insane ending. Insane entire game. What part of that game was normal? Right? No part of that game was typical. Oh man, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. You almost died from my heart. Yeah. Yeah, man. And so did Eagles fans. That was, yeah. I don't know, man. That just... Oh man. Alright, so some people are trickling in. Oh my god. I was initially calling this loss, but after the effing Bears wrecked them, I was confident. Guys, don't sleep on the Bears like that. The Bears are a good team. Come on, man. Come on. Oh, that was nuts. Absolutely nuts. Okay, we're gonna get into this. Has the worm turned in the sense that we are now finding ways to win in ways that we don't deserve instead of finding ways to lose in ways that we don't deserve? Okay, I got a super chat pre-stream from Taylor4999. Shout out to you, Taylor, appreciate it. Hey, that's the first super chat I've gotten on a stream, so I really appreciate that. Look, thoughts on Hampton usage, he asks. So I think Hampton was on a snap count, right? That's what that was, right? Because in the first quarter, watching Hampton out there, it made me be like, okay, look, Kamani Vidal's really good, but this is different. This is different. I don't think I'm alone in that thought. But that was, I mean, that was nuts. Absolutely insane. Okay, so MVP of the game is Cameron Dicker, right? Is that crazy? I think it's Cameron Dicker. I think that's what it is. All right, I'm just for the heck of it, I want to look at the box score because I'm like, this can't. Nothing about this was normal. Get it, sister? Connor's it. All right, guys, my brother's in the chat. Let's go. All right, Connor. Oh man, so Saquon went for 122 yards, averaging 6.1. See, this is the problem. Everyone gets right against the Chargers. Everyone gets right against the Chargers. Although I will say it's very, very Eagles fashion to have a bunch of fantastic individual performances and still lose. Right? Yeah, is it weird to be on the winning side of this type of game? Yeah, it is. Again, shout out to Taylor for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Obviously, if you give a super chat, I'm absolutely going to answer all of your questions. Man, insane. So Justin Herbert ends the game with 10 carries for 66 yards. There was a lot that I expected in this. That was not one of them. That was not one. Herbert was a leading rusher. Yeah, that's a problem. That's not good. I mean, shout out to him, right? Like, he obviously, no one is tougher than him, right? The only one even remotely close is Phillip Rivers, who's not in the league anymore, right? Did you guys see that Phillip Rivers, the Colts, like, got him in for a workout? Did you guys see that? Is that real? That's what I saw. The official NFL account posted it. So if they're trolling me, I'll feel really embarrassed. But that I can't I cannot believe where the Chargers are right now. The Eagles' secondary was on fire tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, and every time Justin Herbert targeted Cooper DeJean, I was like, there has to be someone else open. There has to be a better option. And there wasn't, because no one got open. No one got open. Phillip Rivers' birthday, yeah. Phillip Rivers' birthday. Every time Phillip Rivers is brought up now, people bring up the amount of kids that he has. And like, I guess, right? Are we going to have like 5 years in a row of a Rivers kid being the next quarterback in the draft, you know? Like, is there going to be one per per draft for a while? Is that what that is? Broncos been winning this way all year. Yeah. Hey, that's a really good point. That's how the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl last year, winning in undeserved games. I will say, with the final score, 22-19, if you get 22 points, it shouldn't be on 4 turnovers, right? Like, 4 turnovers, you should score 40. You should score 40. I don't know. Abdullah says, it is real about Phillip Rivers potentially playing for the Colts. It would delay his Hall of Fame nomination. Yeah, but are they gonna give that to him anyways? I feel like a lot of the time the Hall of Fame is just, let's give people who won Super Bowls accolades. You know, I don't know. I don't put a whole lot of stock into it. That's just me. Offense was horrible, but stepped up when they needed to. I guess they stepped up. I don't know. I think that's given too much credit. Okay, I'm gonna get into some observations on both sides of the ball, and on I should say all 3 sides, because special teams almost lost this game for us. But before we do that, I wanted to mention that I did just launch memberships, and so what members get, I have a few different tiers. At the lowest tier, you're going to get all my game day notes. Not everything makes the show, not everything makes the cut. A lot of observations just don't necessarily make sense for the general narrative. So you get access to that. Higher tiers, you get early access to draft content. I'm going to be making a lot of that this off season. I like making it as we go instead of waiting to the combine, because I think a lot of the time you get a better sense of what these players are like when you're watching the games in real time. You get a sense of the emotion and the importance of the moment. For example, Fernando Mendoza is now probably the first quarterback taken, right after what he did to Ohio State, because if you're watching that game in the moment, you're like, oh yeah, that's someone who rises to it. But if you watch the film later, you're like, they didn't even score 20 points, you know? So anyways, that's something I'm doing. You can also get your name at the end of the video. That's something I'm going to implement this week. So thank you guys for being here. Let's get into this. So in general, I want to talk about injuries. Darius Davis went down with an ankle injury. He did not come back. As much as that's concerning, he's not having a great year. I don't know what they should be doing with... I have nothing interesting to say. Here's money. Let's go! Hey, that's very interesting to me. That's very interesting to me. I appreciate you. Malkovin Anarch 900. Hey. Abdul, valid. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's valid. Absolutely. Appreciate you. Really appreciate you guys. Justin Herbert, he ended up being able to go under center. He was able to use both hands. Big improvement from last game. But taking those hits clearly hurt his hand. Like, he stopped being able to hand off with 2 hands. And one of those, the time he got sacked into a fumble, he was trying to stiff arm the guy in front of him, but you could see like it's just not, he can't hold it stiff, and so it's not working. Obviously that's just him trusting his instincts when he should have thrown the ball away, but at the same time it's like if he throws the ball away every time he's about to get a sack, the Chargers probably don't win this game. Is that a crazy thing to say? I don't know. Herbert said no to the interview, not now, I'm trying to celebrate. Did he really say no to the interview? I wonder if he's trying to hide the state that his hand is in. I cut off the broadcast the second they're done. I don't care about post-game stuff. I really didn't think that the Chargers would win that. I really didn't. Anyways, back to it. Trey Pipkins went down. It looked really bad. It looked like he was in a lot of pain. Had to be helped off the field. Obviously, you saw Bobby Hart was in for him. Derwin went out with an injury. He got hit by Justin Aboigbe in traffic. Evaluated for a head injury. Thank God he was able to return. Elijah Molden was ruled out with a hamstring. I saw on the broadcast on a play that the ball was just thrown away. He and someone else were in coverage. You could see on the replay he's reaching down at his hamstring. I think he just re-aggravated something. I don't think it was something particularly happening. I think he just, he's been off and on the injury report all year, and it just didn't go his way this time. So that's a bit concerning going forward. So that's all on the injury side. Let me know if I missed someone on the Chargers side. But yeah, I don't think Herbert had a great game overall. He had some bad decision making. He had that one bad throw, and I don't. To me, I'm like, that's what happens when you're pressured on like 60% of your dropbacks, right? What are you gonna do? Ball security was also an issue. Abdullah, that is the understatement of the year. I mean, if you're looking at both sides, right? And obviously you're just talking about the Chargers, but man, okay, you can't say that the Eagles and Chargers didn't put on a show. There's a lot you can say to criticize these teams. You cannot say that these teams didn't put on a show. Right? What's wrong with Bozeman? He misses a lot. My friend, are you new here? I don't know. He doesn't look. Maybe he just doesn't look up at the defensive line. He just lets guys run free. Oh man, don't talk to me about Bozeman. I'll get mad. I'll get mad. At least Jalen was worse. Yeah, Jalen had a horrible game. That was a historically bad game. That was like, I mean, if you want to compare him to Justin Herbert, that was like against the Texans, right? I mean, I don't know that he had. I don't know. I think Jalen was worse than that. But yeah, back to Herbert. When you get 3 interceptions and you don't score a whole lot, you have to look at the offensive side. And we can look at Herbert, but I am unbelievably... what are you going to say about Herbert? Like, he's playing through these injuries, and when you play through injuries, your body compensates. I mean, he stiff-armed somebody in that last drive where he's rushing, and that last drive was all Herbert. It was all him, and that is why people say as long as Herbert's there, you have a way, because he can just pull that out, like he has that quality about him, and yeah, so I'm not mad at him. We do gotta talk about Greg Roman, right? That's something we gotta get to. We gotta get to that, I do say early on, I was okay with Greg Roman's game in the first quarter. To a certain extent, the second quarter. I liked calling run plays from 11 personnel. That was something that the Bears did very successfully, that they spread out the Eagles' defense, because the best players on the Eagles' defense are not on the defensive line when Jalen Carter is out. The best players are Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. They're farther back. And so let's get them farther away from the ball, and then let's run it. And I thought that was a good adjustment. They did kind of go away from it later. I think out of fear, like that play calling felt very afraid. It felt very conservative. And that's, that's unfortunate, but this is like who Greg Roman is. He finds something that works, and then he goes away from it. It's awful. It's awful. I don't know. We did see what was probably the wildest play of the season for, I would say, any NFL game. Do you guys think, does any NFL play in any game this year come close to Deshaun Hand intercepting the ball, fumbling the ball, Jalen Hurts recovering the ball, and then Jamari Caldwell punching the ball out of Jalen Hurts' arms, and then Troy Dye jumping on the ball? Does anything else come close? I don't think anything else comes close. That's just me. Why are we throwing it 3 times with 50 seconds left when we're up? The Herbert int was terrible. Thank God the field goal miss. Yeah, field goal miss. Hey, Cam Dicker MVP. I'm giving Herbert a lot of credit, but Cam Dicker MVP because our kicker didn't miss. You know, that's Cam Dicker, right? He's him. And I remember as a kid that Chargers felt like they never had good kicking. Never had good kicking. And that was at the time where, like, extra points were, you know, obviously not from the 20-something yard line. Like, they were chip shots, and it felt like the Chargers sometimes missed those. Yeah, anyways, I don't love how in every game it seems like they're taking timeouts on both sides of the ball, especially on defense lately, where you're kind of like, they don't need to be doing that, right? And when they do that, you then get in situations like going into that second half going into the half, like, man, we could have more timeouts right now. We might be able to get something going, and you're just not able to do that. And I'm not saying that that's like what put them in a bad position in this game or anything. It just feels like in every game that happens. On defense, it happens a couple times, and I don't know what that is. I didn't think, like last time against the Raiders, Brock Bowers, it's like he's lined up where he's lined up, one-on-one coverage. Yeah, call timeout, because that's an automatic touchdown. Absolutely. Talked about that in my review video. But yeah. Ninjalo, is that how you say your name? Hey, shout out to Ninjalo, you're one of my members. It says, yes, during the game I wrote, Harbaugh decision slowly drives me mad each game. He has 1 or 2 questionable decisions every game. I'm like, well, that's generally fine. Like, he's gonna see stuff that we don't and all that, but the timeout thing, I don't like it. I don't like it, especially with Herbert being hurt. Having timeouts late in these drives is crucial to being able to run the ball. Running the ball, besides the fact that it's incredibly important for all the reasons it's always important, Justin Herbert is hurt. We don't want him standing there vulnerable every time he dropped back to pass, especially if it was a 7-step drop back. I'm just sitting there waiting for him to get hit, even if he gets a throw off, you know? 7 sacks, man. 7 sacks. It's just ridiculous, man. Conservative play calling too. They had a chance to treat that one play like it was 4-down territory in the fourth quarter, and they didn't take it. I don't blame them for not going for it on 4th down in that situation. I know some people didn't like it. 4th and 4. To me, the mistake was when they didn't, you know, treat the previous play on 3rd down as if they were going to go for it on 4th and maybe set themselves up. You don't have to get that many yards if you know you're going to go for it. I don't know. Where the hell is the black cat cam? I'm seriously disappointed. Okay. Hold on. Ugh, look who we got. Look who we got. Okay, I want all of you to guess. Cat probably hiding from all the yelling and swearing like my pug. Hey, I'm not yelling and swearing. I'm very dignified. I'm a dignified football viewer. Probably from all the practice I get, because I have to watch football at work. That's a big part of my job. And I'm in an office, you know, like I'm at work. I have to be professional, and so I do my little golf clap, and I call it a day. But anyway, here he is. The guy's here. He's in the room. He doesn't you know, doesn't always want the spotlight. Okay, he can get a little bit shy. Whoa, Alan, welcome to Tip of the Spear. Let's go. New member, really appreciate that. Can't tell you how much that means to me. I'm really excited to do stuff with this membership, especially in the off season. Ooh, the off season content. The off season content is gonna come in hot, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm gonna get back to talking about the game. I want to talk about what I saw from the Eagles and what was going on with them. But while I do that, I want you guys to guess how many cats I have. His name is Blur. We named him Blur because we got him as a kid and he was so fast. And I'll give you more lore later, but I'm going to get back to the game. So on the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, we knew he was kind of bad this year. I think in this game, a lot of time his receivers weren't helping him out. A.J. Brown, the ball tips off his hands and it's an interception, but at the same time, it's kind of the same issue as Bo Nix's interceptions where you're like, well, yeah, if you throw the ball really high and your receiver doesn't catch it, an interception happens. If you're going to miss, you can't miss that way. You know, you got to miss left, right, or down, because if you miss up, that risks interceptions, and definitely saw that today. They were really targeting the left side of the field early in the run game. They got away with holding Thule for extra yards. I didn't love that, but it felt to me like they were kind of targeting Bud Dupree a few times, and it was effective. That was how Saquon got some of his bigger runs off. Zach Bond had a really good game defending the run. We knew he would. Jalen Phillips looks good as expected. Got all the leverage on Bobby Hart, man. If you guys go back and watch that film, you're going to see Bobby Hart just lose leverage on every rep, man. Not a good look at all. Marcus Epps, he came back from injured reserve, and he looked really good. He had a few really good tackles. I think the Chargers receivers, they had a rough game. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but one of the reasons they had a tough game was, you know, the Eagles defense just were not letting them get yards after the catch. You know, their Eagles secondary really showed up. And the Eagles would be one of the best teams in the league. They would be top 3 in the league if they didn't get penalties every time they have momentum. Every time. Oh, good yawn. Tell him a good yawn. He's reading the chat. Yeah, and I thought before the half, there was a really cowardly play from Jalen Hurts, just kind of throwing it away. He was clearly scared of turning the ball over, and you know, interceptions, they have that effect. Like the effect of an interception is not just you turn the ball over in that one play. It's the mental effect that it has later, right? That's something they talk about in college. When you're evaluating quarterbacks, one of the things that you look for is how do they respond to their failure. Don't eat that. Okay, don't eat that. He cannot be trusted. How do they respond to failure? How do they respond to interceptions? That's one of Justin Herbert's strengths. He throws an interception, he doesn't start seeing ghosts because of it. You know, he's able to stick to the game plan and do what he needs to do. And we didn't see that from Jalen Hurts, and that surprises me. Jalen Hurts does not strike me as someone who lacks mental composure. You know, so I found that really surprising. But yeah, Sirianni looked pissed going into halftime. The players looked super dejected. I don't know. The Eagles blow my mind. They play like they absolutely hate each other, but they have so many individually talented players. So many. Last note on the Eagles before we get to Chargers offense. That Eagles defender was definitely just punching Herbert's broken hand, right? Like, that was just a dirty play, right? It looked to me like if he had gone for the ball, that is not what... That's not where it would be. Like, that's not where his hand would have hit. I don't know. That didn't make any sense to me. What do you guys think about that? Right? Because I'm biased, right? You guys are all unbiased, right? If this Charger team could rush up the middle, they'd be dominant. Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's the guys up the middle, right? Excuse me. Not shocked they played dirty. Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into the, like, hating the Eagles like a lot of the league does. I get it. But they all play individually, like, so angry, you know? Excuse me, hold on. You want out? Go ahead. All right. We are back. Sorry, to take Blur out. He didn't want to be in here anymore. All right. Yeah, I think the Eagles were just upset. They feel their season just not... Even Cecilia's on IR. Dude, I've been sick. I was sick. I mean, if you watch my last few videos, you'd see my voice is not the same. It's not easy. I got through the live stream last week without coughing, but I guess I can't go for two for two. Alright, we're going to talk about the offense. We're going to get into the offense, and then we can get to what all of your thoughts are on there. So, 3rd and 7 on that first drive. No one was open. And the fact that Justin Herbert had an easy option, the fact that he could just dump it off to Kamani Vidal and say, well, I'm out of time. Let's see what you can get. That led to a huge gain. That was a great adjustment and something we've been talking about Greg Roman. Not just this year. We talked about it last year too, but last year kind of like, well, you don't really have anyone great in that aspect. Kamani Vidal is good at that, but it's not on the field otherwise, you know? So that was a good adjustment. I'm not trying to give Greg Roman too much credit. We'll tear into him in a little bit. But, early on, the offensive line held up well in the run game. They had a good opening drive. I think that's been Greg Roman's biggest improvement this year has been the opening drives in games, not having to start from behind, I love when they use the I formation. I don't think it's common enough in the league anymore. When you can have balanced personnel like that instead of having a strong side that indicates exactly where you're going to run the ball, I think that's a good thing, especially you get a tight end in motion and, snap it while they're in motion and you're not sure where they're going, So I like seeing the I formation. I think that's great, and I'm really glad Herbert could go under center. Herbert had really good pocket presence in the first half. It felt like he was stepping up in the pocket at the right time, finding good options to pass, and I'm wondering if he would have had that easy option if he weren't hurt. I'm wondering if, they thought, well, how can we make it so that Justin Herbert doesn't have to extend every single play and he can just get rid of it? And the answer was have Kamani Vidal right there. But even if he weren't hurt, I want Kamani Vidal to be right there. Or Hampton, right? Hampton did that too. I just think that is good play calling. So hopefully they keep that for when he's healthy. He escaped a sack after that with another pass to Hampton. We have to talk about the offensive line. So go ahead and let him have it. Go ahead and let him have it. Alan says, I didn't get to watch the full game. Why didn't Hampton have 20 carries? Yeah, I think he was on a snap count. I don't think they were going to give him 20 carries no matter what. I think they felt the need to give Vidal some carries because he's been the hot hand and he's been great in pass protection, right? Like, he's earned it, right? So, the offensive line. False start from Trey Pipkins, holding from Bozeman, Sawyer got a holding. There's always too many penalties from the offensive line. Consistent. Every time. Right? Every time. It's one of the most frustrating parts of this game. Throw the whole line away. Most of them. I keep the left side. That's about it. And one of the issues with that is the Chargers kept running the ball to the left side, which then made it predictable where they were going to run the ball. And then the run game stopped working in the third quarter because of that. That's what that is, because the right side can't block. And when the right side can't block, you know what they're going to do. Alright, I may need to get a cough drop because it's feeling rough. Yeah, I gotta get a cough drop. Hold on. I'm dying. I'm dying. They've killed me. That's what it is. They've killed me. My face getting redder every time I come back. Alright. Back to the offensive line, who are killing Herbert. So, Trey Pipkins has the most penalties on the team. He has something like the 15th most penalties in the NFL. Bradley Bozeman, this might have... Do you think this was Bradley Bozeman's worst game? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like his worst game to me. It's not just the holding calls, it's also how many times was there a free rusher up the middle? A gap free rusher. That should almost never happen. That should never happen. It happened multiple times, and you guys know what play I'm talking about, where he slid to the left and there was no one to block. Like, that guy was already being blocked. He had a lot of those, yeah. Yeah, so the offensive line really let Herbert down. This is not a good sign for how they'll hold up against Denver or Houston. I'm tired of seeing Gadsden trying to block an edge rusher. He is not a blocking tight end. I wish he was. Right? If Gadsden were a blocking tight end, he'd play every snap. But he can't. Right? It's just not... I don't know. It's not possible. It's not realistic. And I think a lot of this... Obviously, it comes down to like the protection plan, but also just using your personnel right. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and take another 2-minute break. I'm dying. I will be right back. I'm gonna get some tea, and I'll be right back. Go off on the offensive line. Alright, we're back. We're back with some tea. I apologize for that. I will say, we got Blur back. He's back in the room. So, cat cam probably coming soon. Alright. So, in addition to the offensive line, immune system looking like the Chargers offensive line. Okay. You're right. I can't. You're right. You're right. Stop eating that. You have a point. But yeah, I thought the protection plan was terrible. The lack of designed quick passes and the failure of those, and it was just like the Eagles were just pressing up against the receivers and they couldn't get open. I mean, I thought Cooper DeJean got away with pass interference, but Ladd not having a more complex route against him, I didn't think that made any sense. Because Lad can run any route. He can run anything. Oh yeah, how many cats? Amber, you're right. 3 cats. All black. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get through this whole stream. We will see. But yeah, they had Lad in a really basic slant. Didn't make any sense. They didn't give him time to make any of his moves. Trey Harris looked pretty good, but I don't know. The receivers overall didn't look great. QJ couldn't break tackles. Passing game felt very stunted. Run game was very hit or miss. If they go inside, it was terrible. Alright. Damn. Yeah, no one was on the same page as Herbert. They just weren't, right? That we saw that multiple times. There was that deep pass from Herbert to Lad that Lad just, he wasn't within 10 yards of it because they weren't on the same page. You know, that's, obviously he didn't really practice this week, but he was there for walkthroughs, and after him not practicing, it's on Greg Roman to get everyone on the same page, and they weren't. You know, running into traffic and against press man, you have Keenan and QJ taking each other out on a route, and it's like, yeah, they've been pressing up against the line the entire time, because that's how you take away the quick pass, right? We couldn't even get like some sail routes or anything. So to me, this was probably Greg Roman's worst game. That's saying something because the opening drive was good, you know, and we never saw Trey Lance out there, right? And the reason for that is because how many times did they get in 3rd and short? Right? 3rd and short. We didn't see that, and so we didn't get a chance to see the more creative play calling. Yeah, Becton and Bozeman must go. Yeah, I'm frustrated with QJ, Ladd, and Gadsden. They take way too many off games. They're not physical. I think they're physical, at least in their blocking. I'll say that. Their blocking is very physical. I think everyone in the wide receiver room, great blocking. But yeah, they did not perform well in this game, and I think it's a crowded wide receiver room, and the entire wide receiver room is kind of hot and cold. Last couple games, they haven't looked great. You know, to their credit, up until the last couple of games, they looked great, you know? And yeah, I agree. Herbert's average depth of target is too deep. It's too deep. And I get it because he's unbelievably accurate, but it's not, it doesn't work when he has a broken hand. You know, that's the reality. And when you depend on throwing deep like that and you can't throw just to the second level over the middle, you give Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell opportunities to shine. Why are we doing that? Cooper DeJean should rarely ever be near the ball. It's the offensive coordinator's job to get good matchups going. I don't know. This is the people who are calling for Roman's job. This is a game they can point to. That's the reality. What other thoughts do you guys have on the offense? So I'm going to get to the defense in a second, where we can be a lot more positive. Actually, I'm going to get to the special teams next, because I want to get the negative stuff out of the way, right? I liked Cooper in the draft, but yeah, that's the problem. He's awesome. He's amazing. He should never be near the ball. Don't ever target him. What are we doing? Roman did fine. We won. Hey, I cannot say I agree with you, but we won. You're right. To me, I'm like, this is the most undeserving win. For me, at least. I don't know if you guys see it that way. Alright, I'm going to talk about special teams for a minute here. Del'Shawn Phillips had a heck of a game. He had a great tackle on the opening kickoff. Great hit in the second quarter as well. Then in overtime, he's the one who made that tackle. I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I went to overtime, I was like, oh God, the return. They're going to win on a return. And they didn't. And I think you can give Del'Shawn Phillips credit for that. Darius Davis had an awful punt return, running east-west rather than north-south. He hesitated so long that he was able to be chased down from behind. Can't do that. I don't know. Something's off with him. He's not right this year. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but to me, I would not have him out there returning anymore. Hassan Haskins was back. He had an okay return. He looked fine out there. I'm glad he was back off IR, but I don't know. I didn't love them cutting Naquan Jones to make room, but I get that they were going to have to make a bad decision, but, you know, or a tough decision, I should say. Covey almost broke a huge return. That was wild. Then a good return later because they just can't tackle. Special teams unit cannot tackle this year, and it's far worse than the defense, in my opinion. And, you know, obviously talking about special teams, like we said, Cam Dicker is the MVP of this game. Like, he was the reliable one, right? And that's a great thing, but at the same time, it's like, he cannot be holding together the entire special teams unit. Thank God we have Josh Harris back. That was a nightmare. I'm to the point where I've pushed it out of my mind that J.K. Scott was the hardest working guy out there for a long time because of that. But, you know, not good play from the special teams. Yeah, you're right. He's not running. He's not a threat. You're right. He runs into traffic. He runs backwards. He does not seem to read the blocks in front of him. The blocks even are unreliable. They look disjointed. I don't know. And that's on Ryan Ficken too. It's on Ryan Ficken. That's a conversation we'll have to have another time, though. Defense. Let's talk about defense. So, 3 interceptions is no joke. Did they end up with 4? They ended up with 4. Right? The secondary showed up to play, right? And we'll talk about the defensive line, but the secondary, my God, they played incredible. Great run stop from Thule on second down on that first drive. Great pressure in the second quarter. He forced an early pass. Odafe got a sack. You know, defensive line looked solid in the first half. I'll give them that. Not everyone. Bud Dupree, he had some bad reads on a couple run plays. It looks like they were targeting him, which is bad because he is only out there to stop the run. He is not there to rush the passer. He can't rush the passer. And to the point where Bud Dupree is such a liability on passing downs that, Hurts drifts to his side. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he started drifting to his side because that was where the space was, because Bud Dupree isn't even pushing back on his blocker, right? He's not shrinking the pocket at all. And the defensive line, they just could not get consistent pressure without the help of extra rushers, and I think that cost the secondary a lot. I mean, someone mentioned it earlier, but Cam Hart, I thought he did a great job generally in coverage. He had a good run stop on the edge. The linebackers, they did continue to struggle covering the middle of the field, which is unfortunate because Jalen Hurts is not good over the middle of the field, but he looked a lot better over the middle field tonight, you know. So that was unfortunate, but that is kind of par for the course at this point for the linebacker room. The They did a good job limiting Jalen Hurts' runs. Even his designed runs just didn't have the same juice that they normally did. They kind of went away from that later, so they did a good job like taking that away from him early. I really like when Jesse Minter drops Thule or Mack or any of these guys who are lined up in the middle back into coverage. It is really throwing off Jalen Hurts. We saw it throw off Geno Smith last week. It really threw off Jalen Hurts, like big time. I thought it was a very like successful strategy, and I think doing that now, put that on tape, and it sets up a lot of different looks later. You know, when it looks like 6 guys are rushing and you know that someone's dropping into coverage and you don't know where, it's huge. But back to some individual performances. Some of you guys are mentioning Denzel Perryman. Yeah, I wondered if he was hurt, but he had a great tackle for loss. He was still playing tough and physical. He's obviously not there to defend the pass. You know, that's more of the Troy Dye role, but he played really physical. Derwin had a great tackle for loss. He is so quick to get to the runner. When he lines up outside and blitzes, a lot of time he gets to the runner before they can get to the line of scrimmage. I love seeing that. Khalil Mack looked really good in coverage. Somehow, right? Somehow he was fast enough to chase a guy to the sideline. Henley is playing very physical. He had a lot of big plays, mostly in the first half. Had some really good hits on Jalen Hurts. Great job getting his hand on the throwing arm, breaking up the pass there. Elijah Molden, he missed a tackle against Goodert. I don't like how effective tight ends are against this team. The bigger tight ends are way too effective. Excuse me. RJ Mickens nearly got that interception. Could you imagine if this was a 5-interception game? He nearly got that interception, wasn't quite able to get it, but great effort. I'm glad to see him still in the rotation. Obviously Jefferson, overall, he's playing better, but, you know, you still want Mickens to be out there. Especially, you know, Jefferson's he's already retired once, right? Jamari Caldwell was absorbing some double teams, even in pass rush. I thought that was interesting. Defensive line they could not get enough pressure on Jalen Hurts, and on one hand, you know, the Eagles' offensive line, they are able to protect reasonably well considering their injuries, but I expected more out of them. They've had a lot of big games. Thule has stepped up in a big way this season, but, you know, I just wasn't super impressed with the defensive line in rushing the passer. They did do a good job in the run game. Tier Tart had that great goal line stop, helps turn a 1st and goal into just a field goal. You know, I thought he did a really good job making it so that the Eagles had to adjust their run game. They had to run outside, which led to a lot of tackles for loss, right? It also led to some big plays, but that's what happens when you run outside. Like, you're taking a risk, you know, and those risks led to a lot of 2nd and long, 3rd and long, you know, and that 2nd and long, 3rd and long, that's how you get interceptions. You know, forcing the quarterbacks to throw the ball when you know that they're going to throw the ball is how you set that up. So overall, a good game, at least in run stopping from Tier Tart. Dante Jackson. We got to start talking about him as like a core player on this defense, right? He has been playing fantastic. Fantastic. Every time you see him on a replay, he is stride for stride with whoever he's covering. He has some great pass breakups. Obviously, the interception. He does such a good job of keeping his eyes on the quarterback while still staying in stride, right? That's one of the toughest things for a corner to do, because if you don't do that, that's how you kind of do what Tarheeb Still does. and you get those pass interference calls, which ends up being, it negates a lot of what you can do with pass breakups, right? Like it's a particular weakness of Still, and Dante Jackson is just locking it down. He has been a top player on defense, to me at least. Back to Tier Tart real quick. He beat Jurgens on it was a third down play, and he got penetration so fast that everyone kind of stopped, and everyone was kind of like, wait, how did he already get that? Like, even Tier Tart was like, oh, there's no one in front of me, I can just rush, which was really funny. But yeah, breaking that gap, like shooting that gap in the 3 technique was really impressive a few different times. So overall on defense, the theme is like a lot of impressive individual efforts. Like overall, yeah, I wish that they tackled a little bit better, and I wish that I wish they could set the edge a little bit better, especially on the left side. But at the same time, like, a lot of great individual performances, and they bailed out the offense time and time and time again. And 4 interceptions. The offense, they should have been able to put up 40 with 4 interceptions, right? That's just how it is. But yeah, overall, Jesse Minter deserves a lot of credit. I think he deserves a lot of credit, and I had a hot take earlier in this year that I didn't think Jesse Minter would be getting a coaching job next year. I did think that he would get interviews. I think that's almost inevitable. There's just, I don't know, there's not a whole lot in the way of like younger, like hotshot defensive coordinators. But I also think, with how college football is shaping up, you're going to get some coaches potentially making the leap from college to the NFL. I don't know, but we might lose Minter next year. It would not shock me at this point, because he's really getting it together at the right time. Tyrone says, was proud the Chargers found a way to win on a game they'd normally lose. Yeah, historically they would lose this game. Yeah. And again, as much as I'm, complain a little bit about these coaches, Harbaugh deserves credit for that. That's a Harbaugh change. And to a certain extent, it's, you can give Ortiz a little bit of credit for that, because Herbert had weapons, right? Weapons that were kind of blunted in this game, if we're, being honest. The receivers have been pretty disappointing, right? Keith, you're going off on Saquon saying that, he got his bag and now he doesn't care. I don't think that's what it is. I think the Eagles are just disjointed and everyone's playing for themselves. And speaking of the Eagles being disjointed, what was going on with that rabbit, that positivity rabbit? You guys saw that, right? Like, go ahead, all of you, go look up Positivity Rabbit and you'll see what I'm talking about. What on earth was that? And did they trash it after this embarrassing loss? The Eagles put, like, an inflatable rabbit in their locker room, and they were like, it's the Positivity Rabbit. And all of the Eagles fans were like, if we don't win, it's over. Alan says the no call on Mac was BS. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it was pretty blatant to me. The officiating this year has been bad. I think we can all agree on that. The officiating has been awful. Ninjalo, hope I'm saying your name right. Hope Minter takes the Ben Johnson route, takes his time to become a coach. Yeah, I mean, he's not... Yeah, he might. Ben Johnson was the most anticipated coordinator to head coach prospect candidate in a long time. He could have taken his pick, I don't know if the Chargers would have hired him over Harbaugh, but I also don't. Ben Johnson wanted Chicago, I don't know that Minter has that same pull. I think the only way he can get that pull is if the Chargers win a playoff game because the defense shows up big, which is not out of the realm of possibility. The fact that the Chargers won tonight, yeah, they could win a playoff game depending on the matchup. Anthony Toto says, any comments on Lad Q? Almost a complete shutdown. Yeah, I mean, Q, he couldn't get the yards after the catch. That's the problem. You know, and that's his thing. And Lad's going against Cooper DeJean. I would also have put Cooper on Lad. You need to put your fastest, most athletic guy on Lad, and that happens. I can live with that. I can live with that. I don't love the routes they were having him run. I would rather he ultimately is trying to get open on the second level rather than deep, because I want him to get there relatively quickly. But I still want him to have time to make some moves. Every route with Cooper DeJean, it felt like he was just running, and then he would make his one cut, and that was it. That's not good enough, you know? They also thought Brandon Staley was the coaching, but yeah. People don't know what to do with defensive coaches. And, I mean, we have not seen Jesse Minter with, like, a fully, like, invested defensive roster. We just haven't. And I don't know, will we next year? I hope so. But don't we have to just draft in the trenches and sign in the trenches? And I don't know. We will have a lot of cap space to work with. And that's really good news. But, you know, that, like, that's the reality that Jesse Minter has to live with. He has to live with the reality of, like, the resources are going to the offense, and the offense just keeps getting hurt. You know? Okay, apparently Harbaugh is being a really funny guy in the post-game presser. There's a quote. I think he was asked about Herbert's performance. I put it in the discussion with the birth of my 7 children, my marriage. In the conversation. It's in the conversation. Rich Eisen's going to have a field day with that. He's going to have an absolute field day in that. Whoa, according to Chris Rim from ESPN, the Chargers have won 6 straight primetime games, the longest active streak in the NFL and the longest streak in their franchise history. That's nuts. That's nuts. Okay, you guys need to take a look at the Chargers' social media. They're popping off. We got Bird Game 3 before GTA 6. Odafe says, thank you God, and Tony Jefferson. That is insane, man. Yeah, Justin Herbert, oh man. Justin Herbert, you gotta give him so much credit, man. And Cam Dicker, most accurate kicker in history. Oh man. Steve, you're heading out. Have a good night. Appreciate you. I will get better soon, I hope. Yeah, this is really good for vibes. The fact that the Chargers can overcome this. I mean, this has been the year of the upset, right? So many upsets. It's insane. Did I see Justin Herbert's x-ray? No. Are they posted? Man, they've posted so much. That dog. Let's go. He's got that dog in him. You're right. You're right. You're right. Good call, guys. That's, oh my god. That is incredible. Man, Chargers media, give them the award. Give them the award, man. The MVP right there. The Chargers media, just incredible. He's a beast. I'm okay with Lance starting some games. He might have to. We'll see. We'll see what the state of Herbert's hand is after this game. I'll admit I have a hard time being able to see, like, you know, what, like, how can he possibly walk away from this, like, able to play again, right? Is he going to be able to go under center again next week? Is that I don't know. Is that going to be possible? Because what does that look like if he can't go under center? Because this was a rough game, but he was able to go under center. I don't know. That frightens me. And that's going to be a problem. Lance is a high-end backup. Yeah. Relatively, yeah. He's a high turnover risk, which is why they don't want to play him in those important situations. Good night, Tyrone. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. East Coast, yep, Midwest. When they say out of the season, did they mean regular season? Can Alton Slater make exceptions? And give it up, man. They're not coming back. We'll be lucky if Slater is ready for preseason. We would be very lucky. It's not a good situation. Joe Alt, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's possible. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I will get excited if true, but... But yeah, what a game. Anything can happen, right? This is the take hope part. And I was hoping that I wouldn't have to necessarily make a video about this game, that I could just do this live stream, but I've disappointed in my own performance. Put me on IR. Put my backup in. Blur, you're up. People want you. Is what it is. Got some of the Henley Flu Super Juice, bolt up. Hey, tomorrow morning, listen. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be at work at 8 a.m. downtown. For context, it's midnight where I live. I live in Chicago. It's midnight. Alt can make it. Is that true? Can Joe Alt come back in the postseason? I'm doubtful, but I hope that's true. That would be huge if true. Lance might be starting for a QB needy team next year. Yeah, I don't know. The quarterback carousel's in a weird spot. There's not many good quarterbacks in the draft next year. The most desirable backup is probably Mac Jones, but a bunch of teams are going to be competing for him, but no one's going to want to trade high capital for him. He's on a 2-year contract. It seems like every backup quarterback's on a 2-year contract. I don't know. I would like it if other teams would want Trey Lance so we could, get some trade value out of him, but I'm not sure. Is Trey Lance under a 2-year contract, or is he just here for 1 year? 1 year. Yeah, he's only here for 1 year, so you're right. He might be gone next year. I imagine that he's not going to end up being the most desirable. I mean, he's one of those reclamation project quarterbacks, but it's just not... I don't know. 3 a.m. and here in Brazil. Oh my God, go to bed. 3 a.m. You gotta go. I appreciate you. You're one of my first members, so I really appreciate you, Angelo. I've been trying to kind of level up the channel and level up what I'm doing with live streams and with everything. And memberships are gonna, they're gonna be a big part of that. But I can't do that without, you guys being willing to do that for me, and I really appreciate it. And I'm excited, mostly for draft content. I do think I'll probably make some exclusive content for members because it's just hard to do. It's hard to do on YouTube, like a public video for like film review stuff for the draft. That's something that a lot of people have been asking. Like, let's, review the film of these guys, and I'm like, that's gonna be a copyright strike, and it's just not worth it. Like, I can show images and try to talk through things, but ultimately, like, I don't know, maybe if I did a Patreon, but Herb didn't want to do the post-game interview. Yeah, man, that's our quarterback. He's shy, just a little guy, just a 6'6", 250. Absolute winner, absolute gamer, dating Madison Beer. God, to be Justin Herbert. What are you gonna do? What a fun game, man. The worm has turned, right? That is incredibly fun game. I'm amazed that we are on this side of it. And, obviously it was in overtime, but yet another game where opposing teams' fans take over the stadium and leave disappointed, leave pissed off. They didn't leave in the fourth quarter this time. That's true. They didn't leave in the fourth quarter like they did in Steelers game, the Raiders game. But they left pissed off. And I love to see it personally. I really love to see it. Offense is being too conservative like the Packers. How the hell does Jordan Love throw so many deep balls every game? He has a good offensive line. That's the answer. He has time. Jordan Love also misses a lot of deep throws every game. He also throws one really bad interception per game. Per game. Just how it is. The Bo Nix effect, I guess. But yeah, I am also proud of this team. Knock KC out next week, win in Dallas, then shut Herbert down against Texans and Broncos. Forget trying to catch Broncos. Seeding doesn't matter. Just get in the dance. Well, if the Broncos keep winning, it's not going to matter what the Chargers do. And if it's the last two games like that, yeah, I mean, seeding matters. Seeding matters. I don't know. And Justin Herbert is not one to sit, right? He's not one to opt out of a game. Is what it is. I don't think that they're going to take out Justin Herbert. He is the only reason that they're winning, other than Jesse Minter. It will always be like that until we win. Yeah. To a certain extent. Yeah. Win in Kansas City would shut the door on them, right? I believe that depends. Obviously, Kansas City is locked out of the, they can't win the division, right? That's not possible because of there's only 4 games left or whatever. But, sneaking in at the end, it's possible that the wild card teams all kind of mess up, right? So, yeah, on Sunday night, they said that the Chiefs are down to a 16% chance to make the playoffs. So it's not good. The Chargers aren't the only team that they're, competing with in that regard. But, winning over the Chiefs, honestly, it's crazy because I think winning over the Chiefs is their most likely win left. More so than Dallas. Even though I think that they win both of those games, I reserve judgment for the updates on Justin Herbert's hand, right? Because if Justin Herbert's hand is bad, if Herbert can't play, forget it all. But, yeah. Several good centers in last draft, crap this year. Anyone coming up? I think there are good centers in this draft. I don't agree with that. I think they absolutely are good centers in this draft. I made a whole video about it. I think Connor Liu is plug and play. He would work right away. I've talked about Logan Jones from Iowa. He looks really good. Jake Slaughter out of Florida. I have to go back and watch the tape, but Pat Coogan on Indiana, someone mentioned him in my comments a couple weeks ago, and he had probably his best game against Ohio State, and that's a hell of a game to have your best game in, the Big Ten Championship. I like this center class. Now, there are center options, and there will be free agent options, and the Chargers need to sign at least one free agent in the interior, ideally 2, and then draft some guys who can develop behind them and who can compete with them. That's what they have to do. Seeding doesn't matter this season. Every team has flaws. We can't catch Broncos. You can't be afraid to taste any team. I'd rather protect Herbert's hand against the Texans and Broncos defenses. if your seating's bad, you might have to play them. And Buffalo's getting hot at the right time. I don't know, man. Seating is gonna matter to these coaches. They're playing the odds, and if Justin Herbert can stand on his 2 feet and take snaps, they are going to see that as probably better than Trey Lance, unless it is a short yardage situation. Probably. I'm not saying that's how I would see it, but I just watched Jalen Hurts making excuses again. I mean, he can't go up and crap on his team, you know? He's the only thing holding them together in the media. I don't know. The Eagles are a mess. But they're in an easier division than the Chargers. So they get to go and, have a home game in the playoffs. Becton had a .3 pass. Wait, really? I mean, I knew Becton was bad, but, I guess in this case, sure. I hope I got baited. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Heck, seeding affects weather. True, right? We got 5 picks. If they draft nothing but interior offensive line, I would not complain. I would. We need defensive line. Arguably, we need a linebacker. There is an argument for a late round blocking tight end. We got a lot of free agents on this roster, and that's why I'm not doing mock drafts, because I'm I don't know who they're gonna re-sign. I'll probably do a few before free agency, but free agency is everything. That sets up what we're allowed to draft. It is what it is. I don't know. Herbert looks beat to hell tonight. If not for that hand injury, I'd say we could totally win out the rest of the season. Man, if this team only had the average number of injuries and the average quality of player getting injured, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's not that they have a lot of injuries, it's that they're all on the offensive line, and the offensive line was going to be a real strength of theirs with Slater and Alt. It was going to be a real strength of theirs. And it's just our luck that the worst player on the offensive line is the one who's always healthy. When I rewatch this tape, Bradley Boseman is I'm gonna let him have it. He did terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. It is what it is. I don't know. I think they're gonna have good. They're gonna have good options in free agency, good options in the draft. It's all gonna be there in front of them. It's just, it's just a matter of is this. Can they trade down and still get good guys? And who's going to be available? Will Tyler Linderbaum be re-signed? How much do you have to pay to re-sign some of the rising players? Do they want to get ahead of the Thule extension and Derwin and all of these things, right? That are going to fall into place. Best believe Sean Payton will not rest players in Week 18 because he can't stomach being swept by Harbaugh 2 seasons in a row. I genuinely think there is merit to that. I do not think a team is going to want to not care about an in-division opponent, and I think there's something to be said about a young quarterback and a few different young guys on offense getting into a rhythm and playing every week might be better than resting. It might be. It's that World Series logic where it's well, this team hasn't played in weeks, so they're a little bit off, right? There's merit to that, but I don't know. We haven't seen Sean Payton in this situation with this group of guys. We don't know. And yeah, we don't know what that strategy is going to be. All right, guys, it's past midnight, and like I said, I work at 8 a.m. tomorrow. This stream was going to be really good. I came in with a lot of energy, and I just completely killed my voice. But I really appreciate you guys being here. A lot of you guys have been here for a long time. It looks like I've gone over an hour now. But thanks for being here. This has been a lot of fun. I don't have anyone that is a Chargers fan because around me because I live in Chicago, you know, and I'm a Bears fan too. That's like, it's great. But yeah, this win was for Phil Dad Rivers. Happy birthday. Yep. Happy birthday, Philip Rivers. Great win. I don't want him to play for the Colts, like, for his sake. Like, come on, man. But hey, that would be fun. But yeah, appreciate you guys being here. Just a reminder, launch memberships. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of draft discussions. I'll be posting my game day notes on there sometime tomorrow. And you know, I got a couple super chats today. Really appreciate that. That genuinely, that means a lot to me. And I will be back later this week. We're gonna preview the Chiefs. I'm hoping to get a defensive tackle video out in the next week, just about. Work's been really busy with the Big Ten Championship, and, you know, basketball's ramping up and all that, because that's, you know, that's just how that is this time of year. But yeah, memberships are where my attention is going in the near future. So I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to like. I assume that you guys are probably the subscribers if you're here this long, but just know I really appreciate you guys being here. So have a good night, guys. Bolt up.